Morning if you're a Thunder fan. It may be a little early to ask this, but honestly, it was a great season for them, right?
Yeah, it was an amazing season for Oklahoma City, and while it stings to lose a Game 7 the way they did, because it would have been an unbelievable achievement for them. You know, Brian Windhorst texted me during the fourth quarter last night, and he brought up a great question that would that have been the best moment, and I clarified with him, non-transaction related for the Thunder since they won Game 1 of the 2012 Finals. And it really made me think if they had won that game last night with all they accomplished through the season, with how much people kind of wrote them off before the season, thought that they'd rebel, 1.4% chance to even make the playoffs, and then to upset the Rockets in the first round, I think it would have been. I think it would have been their best win since they won Game 1 of the Finals back in 2012. But, the context of losing a Game 7 reshapes a lot of different things, but it doesn't take away from the fact of what Chris Paul accomplished throughout the year, through what the organization accomplished. They found a lot of different things that has really set the table for them going forward. Everybody knows about the picks and the assets that they have, but they also have some impressive young players. You saw Lou Dort showing up with 30 in a Game 7, which was the most random thing I've ever seen. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a terrific year, led them in scoring. Darius Baisley played some huge minutes. Their first-round pick from last season was excellent in the bubble. So it's a tough one for the Thunder to stomach. But, the reality was that their championship was kind of getting out of the first round, and they weren't going to go much further than that, most likely. They wanted the chance, but it was an unbelievably successful season regardless.
Royce, when you look at it now, assets, things of that nature, what is it that they need to do to stay competitive, though, moving forward?
Keep Chris Paul. That's really it. As long as they keep Chris Paul, that's going to be a good team. And, he'll be 36 next year. But the one thing about him is that, when you look at players that are going to age in the NBA, Chris Paul has the ability, I think, to age pretty gracefully just because he plays the game at such a high level with his mind. He's never been a guy that's really relied on athleticism. He doesn't need an explosive first step. He plays in the mid-range. He plays by controlling the game. And look, they've got some good players that they're going to keep around. They've got decisions to make. Danilo Gallinari is an unrestricted free agent. It's most likely that he won't be on the team next year because of financial issues. Dennis Schroeder will be on an expiring contract. Steven Adams will be on an expiring contract. Sam Presti's most likely not going to let those guys just walk away for nothing. So they're going to be highly available trade assets for teams around the league. But the thing is that as long as Chris Paul's there, they're going to be a competitive team. Are they going to win 50 games and be the 5 seed and be back in the playoffs? I don't know, but they're going to be a good team. But on the flip side of that, now Chris Paul is a lot more desirable than he was a year ago, and there's going to be teams that are going to be interested in him. And if the Thunder can acquire an asset for him in return, that's when they're going to eventually start a rebuild, which has been a long time coming.
Royce, let me ask you, is it feasible, considering the way CP3 has played, if you think that he is reaching this peak at 35 years old? Who knows how players play on the backside of 35. Can you see them actually using him as draft capital, also considering the other assets they have?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And again, if you were asking me that a year ago, the question was, do you have to attach a pick to trade Chris Paul, right? That's what most people thought. And especially when the Thunder acquired him was, okay, now where are they going to move him on to, and what do they got to do to move that salary? Because, look, he's going to be making $42 million at age 38, and that's not a very attractive thing for a lot of teams out there. But at the same time, everybody saw the influence of Chris Paul, not just on a team, but on an organization. He's learned a lot over the years. I've had a lot of conversations with Chris, and one of the things that he's very upfront about is that he's always been a top-notch leader, but he's learned a lot about, and he's kind of been brutally honest that he can be annoying, and his style is that he can grind on people, and he knows that, and he's tried to really improve in that regard. That he's tried to be a little bit more of a team encourager. But so all that to be said, I do think that there's going to be some teams out there that are looking at Chris Paul and saying, yeah, we can stomach that contract if it means that he's going to win us 45 games and put us in the playoffs, because a lot of owners, that's like their goal.